I grew up in Portland, Oregon, born and raised. I spent only a few years, no, 1 year in Colorado during college. Um, uh, Went to high school in Gresham, graduated from Gresham High School. I moved to Ukraine in 2010 after applying with the U.S. Peace Corps, something I'd been wanting to do for a very long time. I was actually slated to go to Africa. I've been working as a journalist in Ukraine for 13 months now. Technically I'm the digital editor. I've been covering the protests in Ukraine since November 21st, when they began not as anti-government protests, but as pro-EU, pro-European protests. They escalated at the beginning of December, which is when they became anti-government protests. That was sparked by violence on the part of police after they dispersed a group of peaceful protesters. After the truce was declared, neither side really put down their guns, so to speak. Things were still very tense throughout the night, but they escalated significantly this morning. We spoke with both sides today. I was on the ground as it all happened, and protesters there told me that it began when police threw some kind of improvised explosive into a crowd of protesters that exploded and injured several of them. Police say that protesters fired the first shot, that they had brought hunting rifles to the square, which I can confirm. Saw a number of them firing hunting rifles. With the captured policemen, I know that they're being held at the Energy Company of Ukraine, which is near Kiev City Hall and City Center. I watched them get paraded in. There were 60 exactly when they arrived there. I'm told that there were 10 in the next few hours that came in. And he said that they would hold them and that their fate weighed on Parliament's actions. Parliament did pass a resolution. 34 members of President Viktor Yanukovych's ruling party of regions sided with opposition members. The resolution included things such as an investigation into the deaths of protesters on the square, essentially a truce of sorts for police to not use firearms against protesters, and to pull back those troops from their positions, as well as to stop an anti-terrorist operation that was put in place on yesterday. There is relative calm on the square in comparison to what we saw over the past 3 days. There is a sense of calm. However, it's still tense. The more militant groups there aren't taking any chances. They're fortifying their barricades. They're still stockpiling Molotov cocktails and stones. They themselves also have, as I mentioned earlier, hunting rifles. And they're also making some improvised explosives of their own. They have been armed with 12-gauge shotguns and rubber bullets. I saw several people go down as a result of gunshot wounds. I spoke with medics on the ground, and the chief medical doctor for the protest movement, who's a revered doctor here in Ukraine, who told me that the gunshot wounds from snipers hit protesters in their head, their neck, their lungs, and their heart. So these were highly trained police officers. It's hard to know exactly how many are armed. I would say it's safe to say that it's increasing. Over the last couple of weeks, there have been calls from the more radical groups for legal gun owners to bring those guns to the square and to have them on their person in case they needed to defend themselves. So we've seen an increase in firearms on the square. The press has been targeted. They've denied up until recently, today, that they've even had firearms. In January, during the other string of violent clashes, there were more than 40, I think maybe even more than 50 journalists that were injured and had their equipment destroyed. Today, there was reports that snipers were firing at television crews that had set up tripods on the square. Being on the square is putting your life at risk. I watched several people around me get hit. One man I watched fall down after being shot. I followed him to the medical tent. He left a trail of blood 50 meters long on the way to this medical tent. Once I got there, they tried to resuscitate him, and they pronounced him dead on the scene. It's surreal. It's really hard to describe exactly what it feels like having bullets whiz past you and being nearly surrounded by a ring of fire and amid tear gas and black smoke. I haven't had a lot of time to decompress and think about it all. It's not my job to get emotionally involved, and so I think that will come a little bit later. I miss Oregon very much, and I'm drinking some tea out of a Stumptown mug from my last trip to Portland, Oregon. Okay, okay. This is not tea; it's cognac, what I saw today was terrible, and I don't ever want to see it again. When we're trying to get an accurate death count, I had to go around to all of these medical centers and like try to physically count as many bodies as I could, and I counted 35. Yeah. Yeah, we've been saying that for 3 months. We hope that the day is near. Time will tell. Yeah, yeah. I will. I will. I hope for that as well. Yeah. All right. I gotta get back to work, but take care and stay in touch. And I guess if this is going to be aired or if anything like that, let me know, because I know that my parents would really like to see that I'm alive. Uh, I haven't been able to speak with anybody back home, not even my wife. My wife's still in Portland, and so it's yeah, she writes me and just asks for information here and there, and I feed her a line or two, and I know that she doesn't, probably shouldn't hear all of what I see, so it's hard. Anyway.